Okay, I call this meeting to order at 6 p.m. on Wednesday, June the 17th, and note that all members of the committee are present with the one exception. The purpose of this evening, I'll read the Township Land Acknowledgement Statement first. The Township of Adjala-Tosorontio is situated on the lands within Treaty 18, being the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe peoples, including the Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi nations, collectively known as the Three Fires Confederacy. This land is home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We acknowledge Indigenous peoples as stewards of the land, and we honor their resilience as well as their culture, and of our shared respect for the lands, plants, animals, and waterways which sustains us all. We recognize the injustices against Indigenous peoples and are mindful that the decisions of government impact our shared land and all the inhabitants. We commit to reconciliation as a journey, foster Indigenous cultural awareness and educational opportunities, establish respectful and healthy relations with Indigenous peoples, continue to steward the land and its inhabitants, and to cultivate an inclusive community for all. The purpose of this evening's hearing is to consider the applications listed on the agenda requesting a consent or minor variance to the township's zoning bylaw. The input we receive from agencies, the public, and staff is important to ensure the committee makes well-informed planning decisions. For each application listed on today's agenda, the hearing procedure will be as follows. Staff will provide a brief explanation of the application. The applicant or their agent will be asked to provide any comments. Comments from members of the public will be heard or read aloud by the Secretary-Treasurer. Following all submissions, the committee will consider all comments and agenda materials when making a decision on an application. Should you wish to be notified of the decision, you must file a written request with the Secretary-Treasurer. The first item for today is the adoption of the agenda. The recommendation reads that the agenda for the Committee of Adjustment hearing held on Wednesday, June 17th, 2026 be adopted as presented. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? John and Julius, sorry, thank you. Any questions? All those in favor? Thank you. It's carried. The next item is disclosure of pecuniary interest. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest in any of the applications today? Let's see. No, thank you. The adoption of the minutes. The recommendation is the minutes for the Committee of Adjustment meeting May 20th, 2026 to be adopted as presented. Can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Ron and John, thank you. All those in favor? Thank you, it's carried. We'll now go to the first submission, 5.1 A-05-26, the property at 6719 Concession Road 3, Adjala-Tosorontio. The purpose is to recognize a reduced retained agricultural lot area of 22.108 hectares, whereas the rural zone requires a minimum of 36 hectares. Would staff please provide a brief outline of the application?
Thank you, Madam Chair. These are concurrent applications for a minor variance and consent. The applications propose to create one new 1 hectare rural residential lot and recognize a reduced retained agricultural parcel of approximate 22.1 hectares, whereas 36 hectares is required. The lands are currently used as a tree farm by Somerville Nurseries and will continue in agricultural use following the severance. The proposal generally conforms to provincial, county, and township planning policies and maintains the rural character of the area. Minimum distance separation requirements are satisfied and no land use conflict has been identified. A septic suitability study has been submitted and demonstrates that the proposed lot can accommodate a septic system. No objections were received from agencies or the public, and staff recommend approval for minor variance A0526 and that provisional consent for B0126, subject to the conditions, including survey requirements, financial clearances, access approval, and confirmation of water servicing. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Would the applicant or agent like to provide any comments regarding the application?
Yes. Good evening, Chair and Committee, members of the public and township staff. My name is David Scarsaloni. I'll hold off.
We have to have a brief inspection of what that was about.
No worries.
I heard somebody set the alarm, but obviously didn't do it.
Sorry, through you, Chair. Have you guys been circulated hard copies of the presentation, just out of curiosity?
We have them actually on the,
Perfect.
yeah,
Okay,
in the
sounds great.
agenda.
So, yeah,
Thank you.
I'll go through and you guys follow on. Thank you.
Go ahead, please, with your presentation.
Thank you, Chair. I'll begin. Good evening once again, Chair and Committee, Township staff, members of the public. David Scarcelloni, Junior Planner, Morgan Planning and Development, and I am the agent responsible for representing the applicant, Somerville Nurseries, for all planning matters as they relate to applications B-01-26 and A-05-26 on the property known as 6719 Concession Road 3. If you guys can move to the next slides on your tablets. Just moving into an overview of the location of the subject property. Surrounding land uses include existing residential and agricultural uses fronting onto Concession Roads 3 to the north, tracts of forested lands, as well as the Tioga settlement area to the east. Once again, existing residential and agricultural uses fronting onto Concession Road 3 to the south. And to the west are agricultural lands, as well as tracts of forested lands and additional lands owned by Somerville Nurseries. Next slide. Just to move into a site description of the property and what's actually on the property, it's once again located on the east side of Concession Road 3 between 17 Side Road and County Road 5, west of the Tioga settlement area. It is primarily vacant agricultural land currently used by Somerville Nurseries for the growing of Christmas trees, nursery stock, and seedlings. Somerville Nurseries, once again, is a family-owned enterprise who have been growing Christmas trees, landscape trees, and seedlings in the township of Adjala-Tosorontio since 1950, and they manage 64 farms covering 1,200 acres in Simcoe County. So to move on to the next slide, just to move into a review of the aerial imagery. As mentioned, the existing uses on the property include agricultural land for the growing of Christmas trees and seedlings, as you can see. Next slide. To move into an overview of the official plan designations and zoning of the property is zoned rural, open space conservation, and Nottawasaga Valley Conservation Authority fill areas, and it is entirely designated rural by the township. And it's also worth noting that the county designates the property rural and greenlands, with the severed lot and severance being entirely located within the rural designation. Next slide. To move into the overview of what's being proposed, the applications, the purpose of the consent application is to create one new residential lot fronting onto Concession Road 3 and one retained lot, which will also continue to front onto Concession Road 3. The retained lot will continue to operate as a tree nursery and be part of Somerville Nurseries land holdings. The severed lot will host future residential development serviced by individual on-site sewage and water services. There is no immediate development proposed on the property, but the intent is for the separate lot to facilitate a single detached dwelling. The concurrent minor variance, as mentioned by township staff, has been submitted to recognize the lot area of 22.1 hectares for the retained lot, whereas 36 hectares is required for an agricultural use in the rural zone. The severed lot does comply with the minimum lot standards of the rural zone. And as you can see in the table on the presentation is a summary of the proposed lot configuration. Next slide, please. Just moving into a summary of the minor variance, as you can see, the 36 hectares, as I mentioned, is required in the rural zone for an agricultural use, and we are proposing 21.1 hectares. And although 22.1 rather, not 21.1, it does seem numerically less than what is required. The lot is currently deficient and is about 23 hectares in size. We are severing just a 1 hectare parcel from the severed lot, and the retained lot will still retain its existing use and be large enough to sustain the existing nursery farm on the property. Next slide, please. So on the screen, you can see a proposed severance sketch. As you can see, the lot fabric is quite unique, and it's worth noting that despite the deficiency in minimum area, as I mentioned, the retained parcel is still large enough to sustain and facilitate a useful and meaningful agricultural operation, as you can see on screen. And it is worth noting that the severed lot completely complies with the provisions of the rural zone. Moving on to the next slide. A planning justification report was submitted with the application addressing all levels of policy applicable to the subject property, including the Planning Act, the PPS, the County Official Plan, Township's Official Plan, and the Township of Adjala-Tosorontio zoning bylaw. And the report also addresses the 4 tests of a minor variance. Next slide, please. Just more specifically into the 4 tests of a minor variance, the intent of the minimum lot area provision in the rural zone is to ensure that there is sufficient lot area to accommodate a wide range of ag uses and to ensure that the character of the area is maintained, and we believe that the proposal does comply with that. The subject property is an existing undersized agricultural lot that does not comply with the minimum lot area requirements, and the variance seeks to only reduce the lot area by 1 hectare. And the deficient lot area of the larger agricultural lot does not negatively impact the character of the area, nor prevent the existing agricultural use from continuing on the lot. Next slide, please. Just to move into an overview of the proposed servicing of the severed lot, designed by Bobby, a licensed septic installer, was retained to confirm the viability of the private servicing for the severed lot. They provided us with a letter, which was provided within the submission package, that concluded that the proposed severed lot is sufficient in size for the well and septic system that will be required and sufficient for the future residential use in terms of a single detached dwelling. The severed lot will be serviced by a private well and septic. The size of the severed lot is large enough to accommodate a building envelope, septic, and well, with the appropriate separation distances required by the Ontario Building Code, and a future building permit application would be required for a septic system and ensure the Ontario Building Code requirements are met. Once again, it is worth noting that an existing entrance is present on the severed lot off of Concession Road 3. Next slide, please. So to summarize and conclude, there is 1 retained lot and 1 severed lot proposed. The retained lot will once again be used for agricultural purposes, the existing use on the property, and the severed lot will be used to facilitate a future single detached dwelling. We believe that the proposal is consistent with the Provincial Planning Act, or the Provincial Planning Statement, the Planning Act, the County Official Plan, Township Official Plan, and maintains the intent of the zoning bylaw. The concurrent minor variance application submitted to recognize the resulting lot area of 22.1 hectares for the retained lot, whereas a minimum of 36 hectares is required. The severed lot does comply with the zone standards of the rural zone. The location of the proposed lot complies with MDS setback requirements, and the servicing opinion letter did confirm that the severed lot can facilitate adequate services. So I'd now like to take this time to thank you for listening and invite any questions, comments, or concerns about either of the applications. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Did we have any written comments or on the application?
No comments were received.
Are there any questions from members of the committee? Ron?
My question is to Kardik. I know when we sever a lot off a farm, like surplus to agriculture or whatever, with the rest of the land will be sterilized. Now, I'm just wondering, is this the same situation? Like, will this land, the remaining portion of this land, be sterilized? Because I don't want them coming back in 2 years or 5 years and asking for another lot off. So, I mean, I don't know, is that in our official plan or not?
Through Madam Chair, that is requirement for the prime agricultural areas as required by PPS. This land is not designated as prime agricultural. This is rural designation. And as per our official plan, the requirement under rural designation is just to meet the average lot size and average frontages. There is no requirement of sterilizing the remnant parcel. Thank you.
So was that? are you-
No, that's fine. I just,
It's not private.
yeah, I know, but I just like, you know, like thought, well, you know, it's considered a farm,
Yeah,
and here we are. And even though it's not prime agricultural land, it is being used for farm purposes, right? You're farming trees. They're cash cropping off of this land. So I can't see any really difference between growing corn and wheat or growing trees. You're still doing the same thing, just the time frame is greater. So,
but
anyway,
your concern is that at some point in the future, they might come and ask for another lot to be severed?
yes, yeah.
Is that,
Through Madam Chair, there are other mechanisms by which the number of lots can be limiting in these situations, like the average frontage and average lot size. They are just meeting the average frontage, so they can't sever one more lot because they will not be meeting average frontage requirement under official plan. And then there is a requirement under county official plan for that they can't sever a lot and promote a strip development. So if they like sever one or two more lots and rural residential lot, they will not meet county's requirement of not promoting strip development. So there are other mechanisms because it's a rural designation. It's a little more flexible than prime agricultural, but they can't sever like 5 or 6 lots. That won't be complying with our official plan policy and townships of county's official plan policy.
okay, but the
Thank you.
one would be permitted?
Yeah, one if they are complying with average frontage, average lot size, and strip development. Yeah, thank you.
Is that, I think that answers your concern, I think. Okay, do we have any other questions? No? So we move on to a decision for application A-05-26, and this one is also linked to B-0126, so we can take them one after the other to. So I'll read the decision for your consideration first. In the matter of subsection 45-1 of the Planning Act, and in the matter of concession 3, West Part Lot 16, RP 51, R10106, parts 1, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 10, in the township of Adjala-Tosorontio, county of Simcoe, and in the matter of the application of Somerville Nurseries, Inc. as owners of the aforesaid land for minor variance under the Planning Act. And whereas the Township of Adjala-Tosorontio's Committee of Adjustment, having conferred with all applicable agencies and persons as prescribed by the Planning Act, and having had regard to recognize a reduced retained agricultural lot area of 22.10 hectares, whereas the rural zone, 22.108 hectares, whereas the rural zone requires a minimum of 36 hectares B. And do I have a mover and seconder for approval of this application? Julius and John, all those in favor? Thank you, the motion is carried. Now I think we can go right to the next one, which is the companion of this one, the B. Property 6719 Concession Road 3, Adjala-Tosorontio. The purpose to create one new 1 hectare rural residential lot fronting onto Concession Road 3. So, do we want a brief explanation?
We can move on to decision.
Move on, okay. Move on to the decision for application B0126. I'll read the decision for committee consideration. In the matter of Section 53 of the Planning Act, and in the matter of Concession 3, West Part Lot 16, RP 51R10106, parts 1, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 10 in the Township of Adjala-Tosorontio, County of Simcoe, and in the matter of the application of Somerville Nurseries, Inc. as applicant for consent severance under the Planning Act. Whereas the Township of Adjala-Tosorontio's Committee of Adjustment, having conferred with all applicable agencies and persons as prescribed by the Planning Act, and having had regard to those matters prescribed in the Planning Act, has decided that the request to create one new 1 hectare rural residential lot fronting onto Concession Road 3B. And do I have a mover and a seconder for approval? Ron and John, and all those in favor? Okay, the motion is carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, the next item is 5.3 B-03-26, the property at 3364 Concession Road 2, Adjala-Tosorontio. The purpose to create one new .4 hectare rural residential lot fronting onto Tandragee Road. Would you please give us an explanation of this application, Kartik?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This application is for consent to create one new 0.4 hectare rural residential lot fronting on Tandragee Road. The retained lands will remain approximately 37.3 hectares and continue in agricultural use. The application conforms to provincial, county, and township planning policies and maintains the rural character of the area. A septic suitability assessment has been completed, confirming the lot can support private sewage servicing. No concerns were identified through agency circulation, and NVCA has also confirmed no concerns. Staff recommends the provisional consent to be granted, subject to standard conditions, including survey, financial, access, and service requirements. Thank you.
Is there an applicant or agent who would like to speak? Thank you.
Once again, good evening, Chair and Committee, Township staff, members of the public attending online or in person. Once again, my name is David Scarcelloni, Morgan Planning and Development, and I'm again the agent responsible for representing the applicant, Somerville Nurseries, for any and all planning matters pertaining to B-03-26 at 3364 Concession Road 2 in Adjala-Tosorontio. If we could flip to the next slide, we'll once again get into a locational context of the subject property. Surrounding uses include existing agricultural uses and County Road 9 to the north, existing rural residential uses, agricultural lands fronting onto Concession Road 2 to the east, tracts of agricultural and forested lands to the south, and existing rural residential uses and agricultural lands fronting onto Concession Road 2 to the west. Next slide, please. Provide a site description of the property. It is located at the end terminus and on the north side of Tandragee Road, as mentioned by Township staff. Along the west side of the unopened road allowance known as Concession 2. The property is developed with a single detached dwelling and all associated accessory structures. It's worth noting that the property is privately serviced with water and sanitary by way of septic and well for the existing dwelling. The property is also used agriculturally, once again, for the growing of Christmas trees and other nursery tree stock as part of Somerville Nurseries land holdings. It is accessed via Tandragee Road, off of a municipally maintained right-of-way with a lot area of 37.7 hectares or 93.3 acres, and it has 282.2 meters of frontage along Tandragee Road. Next slide, please. As previously mentioned, you can see the existing uses on the property, including the single detached dwelling and accessory structures in the smaller photo in the top right, followed by a tree line lining the rest of the property and separating the rest of the property from the agricultural tree farm, providing for the growing of Christmas trees and other nursery stock. Next slide, please. To move into an overview of the zoning and official plan designation, same as the previous application, the property is zoned rural, open space conservation, and the Nottawasaga Valley Conservation Authority fill area, designated rural by the township, and once again designated rural and green lands by the county, and the severed lot is entirely located within the rural designation. Next slide, please. To provide an overview of the consent application, the purpose of the application is once again to create one new rural residential lot fronting onto Tandragee Road, as well as the one retained lot. The retained lot will continue to host the existing single detached dwelling, accessory structures, and operate as a tree nursery and be part of Somerville Nurseries land holdings, and the severed lot will facilitate a future residential use in the form of a single detached dwelling, not immediately at the time of development. However, it is the intent of the severed lot to facilitate a dwelling which will be serviced by private services, that being a well and individual septic tank. Access to the severed lot will be via a new entrance onto Tandragee Road, and the retained lot will continue to be accessed using the existing entrance. The proposed severed and retained lots entirely comply with the provisions of the zoning bylaw, and no minor variance mechanisms or zoning bylaw amendments are required. Both lot frontage and minimum lot area are compliant, as you can see in the chart at the bottom of the screen. We'll move on to the next slide, please, to provide an excerpt from the severance sketch, which was submitted as part of the formal application to the township. It's worth noting that there are no concerns with the ability of the retained lot to continue facilitating the existing agricultural use. And once again, the severed lot is designed to be of size to be compliant with the zoning bylaw. Next slide, please. Morgan Planning submitted a full planning justification report with the application, which addressed all applicable policy documents, including the Planning Act, Provincial Planning Statement, County Official Plan, the Township Official Plan, and the Township Zoning Bylaw. Next slide, please. Once again, designed by Bobby, a licensed septic installer was retained to confirm the viability of the severed lot to facilitate a septic tank for a single attached dwelling. The letter that they provided us that was submitted to the township as part of the submission package did conclude that the proposed severed lot is sufficient in size for the proposed well and septic system that will be required for the future residential use. The proposed severed lot will be serviced by well and septic, and the retained lot will continue to be serviced by the existing well and septic that service the single detached dwelling currently on the property. Once again, a future building permit application will be required for a septic system and to ensure the Ontario Building Code requirements are met. Next slide, please. To conclude, we propose to retain one lot, which will facilitate the existing residential uses on the property as well as the agricultural use, and one severed lot, which will facilitate a future rural residential use in the form of a single detached dwelling. The application is consistent with all provincial policy, conforms to the county official plan and the township's official plan, and fully complies with the zoning bylaw. The provisional consent does meet the criteria of Section 5124 of the Planning Act. And I would now like to take this time to thank you for listening and invite any questions, comments, or concerns.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Are there any members of the public here who would like to comment? Did we receive any written comments?
No comments were
we did
received.
not. All right, are there any questions from the committee? Yes, Ron?
Is there an existing house to the east of this lot you're taking off? Right at the very end of Tandragee Drive or Road, and is that an existing house or is that just buildings?
Through you, Chair. If you're referring to the existing single detached dwelling at the southeast corner of the property.
Yeah, it's the far east.
Yeah, that is an existing dwelling, which is
Okay.
occupied and is functional.
Yeah. All right. No, I'm just trying to get it located in my head.
Yep.
That's Ernie Severn's old house.
Okay. Any other questions? No? Can we move on to a decision? Right. All right, in the matter of Section 53 of the Planning Act, in the matter of Concession 1, East Part Lot 19 and 20 in the Township of Adjala-Tosorontio, County of Simcoe, and in the matter of the application of Somerville T. Landholding as applicant for consent severance under the Planning Act. And whereas the Township of Adjala-Tosorontio's Committee of Adjustment, having conferred with all applicable agencies and persons as prescribed by the Planning Act, and having had regard to those matters prescribed in the Planning Act, has decided that the request to create one new 0.4 hectare rural residential lot fronting under Tandragee Road B, and do I have a mover for approval and a seconder for approval? Julius and John, right? All those in favor? Right, the motion is carried.
Thank you.
All right, the next application, A-09-26, the property at 5620 Concession Road 3, Adjala-Tosorontio. The purpose is to permit the existing 1,200 square foot timber barn accessory residential structure within the front yard, whereas section 3.4 of the zoning bylaw number 03-57 requires accessory structures be located in the yard or interior side yard. Would you give us a brief description, please, Kartik?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The application requests permission to allow an existing 1,200 square feet accessory structure, being a timber barn, to remain within the front yard. The structure was constructed without prior planning approval and is intended to serve as an accessory building for the storage of household items and equipment associated with residential use of the property. The structure is well set back, approximately 414 meters from the front lot line, screened on the property, and results in minimal visual impact. The NVCA has reviewed the application and advised that the property is partially regulated due to floodplain and naturally hazard features. This will be reviewed further through the building permit process, and NVCA has said they have no objection to minor variance application. Staff are satisfied that the variance is minor, maintains intent of official plan and zoning bylaw, and is appropriate for the use of the land. Staff recommend approval, subject to conditions including that the variance applies only to the identified structure, and the sea can container currently located on the property to be removed and relocated to location that complies with the provision of zoning bylaw to the satisfaction of the township. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Would the applicant or agent like to provide any comments?
I'm here, no comments, but I'm here if you have any questions. No problem.
All right. Did we, if you'll just stay there for a sec, are there any written comments from the public, Kartik?
No comments were received.
Comments, all right. Are there any questions from the committee? Yes.
Thank you, through the chair. When was the building actually erected?
So we built the house 3 years ago, and the shed maybe 12 months, slightly over.
12 months ago?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, just people come and ask for forgiveness when you, like, why didn't you get a permit before you built this thing, would be my biggest
Well,
question.
I'm relatively new to all this, and there's a few different things. So I thought with the house, we had permitted, and it was under the same permit, but it wasn't. So I made a mistake there. So we put it, I didn't know that the front and backyard set so far back as well. So we put it 450 meters behind from the road. But that's the explanation why. I thought it was all part of the same permit.
Okay.
The house is new as well, right? So we built that just 2 years ago.
Yeah, I understand. Thank you.
Yeah.
A lot of people come forward, they go and do what they want to do, and then they come
Not my
and
intention.
ask for a permit after it's been built, and
Right.
that tends to happen quite a bit. So I was just wondering how the process was. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, are there any other questions? No?
North of County Road 5? Yes. On the third line?
Yeah.
This is Bill Ireland, you know him? His old lot.
Oh, so you're just north of 5 Side Road?
Yeah, that's
5
right.
Side Road, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I know the property.
Just as you cross the river on the left.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
the property on the west side there.
Mhm.
That's right.
Okay, yeah,
Second farm, and 5 seconds.
Yeah.
okay. No, I just wanted to visualize it.
Yeah, no problem.
I know where it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll be ready to move on to a decision? Yeah.
Yes.
All right. In the matter of subsection 45(1) of the Planning Act, and in the matter of Tosorontio Concession 2, East Part Lot 7, RP 51R41047, Parts 1 and 2, in the Township of Adjala-Tosorontio, County of Simcoe, in the matter of the application of William Randall as applicant for minor variance A-09-26 under the Planning Act. And whereas the Township of Adjala-Tosorontio's Committee of Adjustment, having conferred with all applicable agencies and persons as prescribed by the Planning Act, and having had regard to those matters prescribed in the Planning Act, has decided that the request to permit the existing 1,200 square foot timber barn accessory residential structure within the front yard, whereas section 3.4E2 of zoning bylaw number 03-57 requires accessory structures to be located in the rear yard or interior side yard, B. And do I have a mover or a seconder for approval? John and Ron? Okay, thank you. All those in favor? Thank you, it's carried.
Thank you very much.
Right, the next item, 5.5A-10-26, the property at 7020 Concession Road 2, Adjala-Tosorontio. The purpose to permit a new single detached dwelling to be located behind the existing and proposed agricultural structures on the subject lands. Whereas bylaw number 20-31, which amended section 4.34 of comprehensive zoning bylaw number 03-57, as well as Schedule B, section 5.1, requires a new dwelling unit to be located closer to the front lot line than any agricultural structure. Kartik, would you please explain this to us?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This application requests to permission to allow a new single detached dwelling to be located behind existing and proposed agricultural structures and to recognize existing lot size deficiency. The property is predominantly used for agricultural purposes, including crop rotation, horse riding arenas, and contains treed areas and an existing livestock barn, existing shed, existing portable horse shelters, and one existing residential dwelling. The proposed dwelling location supports the ongoing agricultural use of the property, maintains appropriate minimum distance separation, and preserves the rural character. No concerns were identified by agencies, and NVCA has also confirmed no concerns with the application. Staff recommends approval, subject to conditions, including that the variance applies only to the structures as shown in the submitted site plan, and that use and occupancy of the existing dwelling is addressed to the satisfaction of the township prior to occupancy of the new dwelling. Thank you.
All right. So the applicant or agent like to provide any comments regarding the application?
Good evening, committee, staff, and members of the community. My name is Renee Caliero, and I am a planner at Innovative Planning Solutions. We are here on behalf of the owner of the subject lands for 7020 Concession Road 2 to submit a minor variance application. Thank you all for attending this evening for the opportunity to present and request committee to consider approving application A1026. With me this evening is my colleague Greg Barker. We've been working parallel with the township as we had a pre-consultation meeting back in March of 2015 of this year to help us better understand the submission requirements and staff's positionality with the proposal. If you could just go to the next slide, please. So, like I had mentioned, the subject property is known to be 7020 Concession Road 2. It's approximately 32 hectares in size with 127 meters of frontage along Concession Road 2. There is currently a single detached dwelling, a shed, portable horse shelters on the property. The land is also used primarily for horse riding. If you could just go to the next slide, please.
Sorry, I'm catching up. Which slide number are you
Oh,
on?
this is slide number 3.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. All right, so just for a better context, a broader context, the surrounding land uses consist of agricultural and rural uses to the north, a woodlot area to the west, and rural residential uses to the east and to the south. If you could just go to the next slide, please. Within the township's current official plan, the lands are designated as rural, as you can see on the left figure. Similarly, the lands are predominantly zoned as rural, as you can see on the right figure. It is also worth noting that to the west portion of the subject property, the designation overlaps with NVCA fill area, and there is a stream with adjacent open space conservation. If you could go to the next slide, please. As you can see on this slide, there is a concept plan showing the existing and proposed structures on the property. In the top right figure, you can see the proposed indoor arena barn and horse stables, which support the ongoing agricultural use of the property. As shown in the bottom right figure, proposed structures F and G consist of agricultural storage building and storage facilities, also considered as a shed. The purpose of the proposed application is to facilitate the construction of a primary dwelling, as you can see labeled as Building E, located behind existing and proposed agricultural structures. This layout triggers the requested variances we are asking for today. The zoning bylaw requires a dwelling to be located in the front of agricultural structures. Given the existing and planned layout of the property, relief is being requested to permit proposed dwelling in the proposed location. The second variance is related to the existing lot area. The zoning bylaw requires a minimum lot area of 36 hectares, whereas the subject property has an existing lot area of approximately 32 hectares. This variance is requested to recognize and legalize the existing lot area. If you could go to the next slide, please. So just to provide some visual context, to visualize the variances, this table illustrates the zoning provisions that we do not comply with, and again, primarily relating to the locations of the proposed new dwelling. I would like to note to committee that this is my client's intention to retain the existing dwelling on the property, which complies with the bylaw, and the subject to approve the variances. Subject to the approval of the variances, the existing dwelling would be converted to a different use upon occupancy of the new proposed dwelling. If you could go to the next slide, please. As part of Section 45 of the Planning Act, the application has been evaluated against the floor test for minor variances. There are no changes proposed to either the official plan designation or the zoning category of the property, which maintains the general intent and purpose of both planning documents. The application purpose maintains the intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw because although the proposed dwelling will be located behind the existing and proposed agricultural structures, it is situated within a naturally defined area of the property and maintains substantial setback to the road. As a result, the rural streetscape of the area will be preserved. In addition to this, MDS 1 and 2 calculations were completed as part of this application. As a result, it demonstrates that the proposed development satisfies all applicable MDS requirements and maintains compatibility to the proposed residential uses and surrounding agricultural operations. If you could go to the next slide, please. The requested variances are minor in nature due to maintaining the existing rural character and agricultural function of the property. The relief is limited to the location to the proposed dwelling and the recognition of the existing lot area rather than introducing any new or increasing density. Furthermore, I'd like to note that the proposed dwelling maintains substantial separation distances from surrounding properties and does not create any additional impacts related to traffic, servicing, or compatibility. The requested lot area variances simply recognize the existing lot area without affecting the overall character or agricultural land base. The requested variances are desirable because they facilitate a new primary dwelling while supporting the continued agricultural operation of the property. The proposed dwelling is located within a naturally defined area of the site while maintaining compatibility. Surrounding uses satisfies all applicable MDS requirements and preserves existing rural character without impacting any agricultural land base as well. If you could go to the next slide, please. And just to summarize everything, the application seeks 2 variances to recognize existing lot area and to permit the proposed primary dwelling to be located behind existing and proposed agricultural structures. In our opinion, the requested variances represent good planning and are consistent with applicable planning policy frameworks satisfying the 4 tests of the Planning Act. We have reviewed the staff's report and are in agreement with the recommended conditions. With that being said, we respectfully request that the committee consider approving the application. This concludes my presentation. Thank you, and we look forward to taking any of your questions or concerns.
Thank you. So are there any questions from the members of the committee on this application? Yes.
The photo of the portable horse sheds, are they what you're saying, are these considered the agricultural buildings that you're speaking of? This,
Through you, Chair. No, the agricultural structures that I was referring to are, I believe, structure F and G. Those ones are identified as structure H. So there is one agricultural structure that is located towards the southwest of the property, which is near the proposed dwelling.
a little bit hard to read your sketch
Yeah,
here
I apologize.
with the letters.
F and G.
F and G are existing buildings?
F and
No,
G.
proposed storage, proposed
Yes.
agricultural storage. So they're not there right now, that's
No.
here.
Right, and those, that's.
And
where
that's the
hall-
house.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this
That's
is
the
the,
storage, and then the arena's up here. So the arena would be
up
here.
there, all right.
And then these little guys here are the portable ones.
Oh, the shelters,
Yeah.
yes, okay. But the arena is not there yet?
Through you, Chair.
Yeah.
No, the arena is not there yet. That is proposed.
So you would have to come for the permits at some point to.
Yes, that
to
is
build
correct.
all of those other buildings.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Yes?
So there's one, I know the property. So the existing house there used to be let's call it a dwelling halfway up the hill. Has that been removed?
Through you, Chair. I'm
Like as the
trying,
driveway
I'm
goes.
trying to
and
visualize.
it winds and goes up to the top, there used to be basically a, let's call it a
I-
glorified treehouse. I'm just wondering if that's still there, or has that been removed? Looking on Simcoe GIS, it doesn't look like it's there anymore, but there actually used to be a dwelling there. I was just wondering if it was still there, or you,
So referring to the existing dwelling, it is only located towards the northeast of the property. So
yeah, I
anything
understand
that
where
is
that one is, but
south,
there was a second one
I don't believe there is anymore.
in
Yes.
between ideally where the existing is and the proposed is. There used to be
Correct.
a dwelling
Yeah.
sort of there. It's not there anymore.
No.
That's all. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? No? We proceed to the. Sorry, I have to get my notes. In the matter of subsection 45(1) of the Planning Act, and in the matter of concession 1, East Part Lot 18 in the township of Adjala-Tosorontio, county of Simcoe, and in the matter of the application of Torrin Linton as applicant for minor variance A-10-26 under the Planning Act, and whereas the Township of Adjala-Tosorontio's Committee of Adjustment, having conferred with all applicable agencies and persons as prescribed by the Planning Act, and having had regard to those matters prescribed in the Planning Act, has decided that the request to permit a new single detached dwelling to be located behind the existing and proposed agricultural structures on the subject lands, whereas bylaw number 20-31, which amended section 4.34 of the comprehensive zoning bylaw number 03-57, as well as Schedule B, section 5.1, requires a new dwelling unit to be located closer to the front lot line than any agricultural structure. Do I have a mover and a seconder for approval? Julius and John, all in favor? Okay, motion's carried.
All right, thank you.
Right, the next item, A-11-26, the property 7 Grieve Street, Glencairn, Adjala-Tosorontio. The purpose to permit the existing 103.3 square foot accessory structure, wooden shed, to remain within the front yard of the subject property, whereas section 3.4 EI of zoning bylaw number 03-57 requires accessory structures in a residential zone to be located within the rear yard or interior side yard. Kartik, would you please give us the overview?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This application requests permission to allow an existing approximate 103 square foot accessory structure, being a wooden shed, to remain in the front yard. The shed is small in scale, visually not obtrusive, and does not negatively impact the streetscape or surrounding properties. Staff has reviewed the application and satisfied that the variance is minor, appropriate, and maintains the intent of the official plan and zoning bylaw. No concerns were identified by agencies or by public members. Staff recommends approval subject to the condition that variance applies only to the existing shed as identified in the submitted site plan.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Would the applicant or agent like to provide any comments?
Hello, committee, Madam Chair. I don't have any comments. Kartik did a great job summarizing that, but I'm here to answer any questions if you have them.
Okay, did we have any written, you said we had no written comments? Oh, we do, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Through Madam Chair, we have one written comment from Greg Binions of 16 Grieve Street. It is a letter of support, noting shed is well constructed and visually appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any questions from the committee? Yes.
Thank you through the chair. When was it built?
So I can explain that. So it was built about 4 years ago. The garage that's directly north of it, I've recently rebuilt. The building permit's still open pending this application, but there was another wood shed attached to the old garage. That I demolished that wood shed and erected this building about 4 years ago, knowing that it's below 15 meter squares. I knew I didn't need a building permit, and I was not aware of that maple, which is, I'm a corner lot, is the far end. It doesn't, to me, that in my head, that was my side yard, so it wasn't something I thought about. And then when I went to get the building permit for the new garage, it came up, and yeah, so now I'm here asking, for a little bit of forgiveness, but yeah, that was just my own ignorance, but hoping that the application is minor and acceptable.
And ideally, Grieve Street is not the frontage of your house then?
Well, I mean, practically it is.
But it is, but it isn't.
Yeah, Maple is technically the legal front yard, even though my house faces Grieve and my driveway is off Grieve. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you.
Does the committee have any questions? No? Okay, we can move on to a decision for application A-11-26. In the matter of subsection 45-1 of the Planning Act, and in the matter of Plan 271, Lot B, Part Lots 8, 19, and 20, Part Lane, and RP 51, R9, 580, Parts 35, 36, and 37 in the Township of Adjala-Tosorontio, County of Simcoe. And in the matter of the application of Curtis Hatfield as applicant for minor variance A-11-26 under the Planning Act. Whereas the Township of Adjala-Tosorontio's Committee of Adjustment, having conferred with all applicable agencies and persons as prescribed by the Planning Act, and having had regard to those matters prescribed in the Planning Act, has decided that the request to permit the existing 103.3 square foot accessory structure, wooden shed, to remain within the front yard of the subject property, whereas section 3.4 EI of zoning bylaw number 03-57 requires accessory structures in a residential zone to be located within the rear yard or interior side yard. Do I have a mover and seconder for approval? Ron and John. All those in favor? It's carried.
Thank you, committee. Have a good night.
Thank you. Yeah, it's so far from the other one. All right, so it's now,
Is this true that, maybe Carnegie can answer this? I was told years ago that the shortest frontage on a piece of property was considered their front driveway. Is that so, or?
Through Chair, yes, that's our current bylaw, and that was the concern with this property also. The shortest side is on Maple Ave. That's why that is considered front yard.
Yes.
Even though the driveway is through Grieve Street, and that's a longer side.
this is great.
Yeah, so that's why it's a side, yeah.
Yes, yeah, it's quite a distance from Maple.
Yeah.
There's a lot, yeah.
You did a good job building this woodshed, though. Nice.
It's only 10 by 10, 100 square feet.
It just barely,
It's just-
yeah.
And it's only 3 sides, too. It's just a lean-to, basically. But, yeah, it's that front yard that you mentioned.
Okay. All right, it's now 6:54 PM, and I declare this hearing adjourned. Thank you.